Why do we feel this need to hide our work from others? Why is there this stigma attached to work? It's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen overnight, but it is the only option. Be honest with yourself. Is there nothing that you would really like to have? Is there nothing that you want? Is there nothing that would make you feel great if you achieved it? Internalize this one concept. The more you accept it to your core that this is a fact, the better off you will be. It took me a long time to start feeling the opposite way. But luckily for you, you have me. Here's exactly how you shortcut that process. Your perception of hard work is extremely misinformed. So is everybody else's, so was mine. Man, what is going to become of this generation that's coming up? There is nothing we hate more than work. We hide from it, we run away from it every chance we get. Collectively, as a generation, we've developed this hatred, this resentment towards work. And this perception is all around us, it's everywhere. On exam day, anywhere in the world, anyone from an 8th grader to somebody in university, what does everyone say to each other when they first meet on exam day? I don't know shit, I haven't studied anything, I'm definitely gonna fail. While some of us actually meant what we said. Even the toppers, even those who've revised the syllabus like 5 times, say the exact same thing. Why do we feel this need to hide our work from others? Why is there this stigma attached to work? When I gave the GMAT, I scored a 730 on it. I scored in the 96th percentile in the entire world. The average GMAT score is a 630. Most of my friends scored somewhere around 650. So anyone and everyone I told my score to couldn't believe it. My close friends literally couldn't believe that I scored a 730. They thought that I photoshopped my report just to fuck with them. A few days later, I was talking to one of them and he tells me that he's also planning to give the GMAT. He says that seeing you get a 730 motivated me, made me feel that even I can get somewhat a similar score. So tell me, what resources have you been using? How did you study for it? So I told him all of that, and I also mentioned that I had been on this grind for the past 6 months. As soon as he heard that, his entire tone changed. He's like, wait, what, 6 months? I said, yeah, I wanted to give it my 100%. On exam day, I wanted to be confident that no matter what, I will end up getting a brilliant score. How brilliant, I don't know, but I will definitely, worst case scenario, I still get a brilliant score. But he wasn't listening to me anymore. He was stuck on that. He says, oh, you prepared for 6 months, is it? Then it's not that big a deal. Of course, then it makes sense that you got that good a score, man. You put in 6 months of your time, of course you got a good score. But I cannot dedicate 6 months into this one thing, no? So I mean, it won't be feasible for me. I knew there was no point arguing with him, so we just moved on from that topic. A few minutes later, I asked him, so what have you been up to? What are you doing these days? And he says, my parents have gone to my grandparents' place, so I've been home alone for the past 2 weeks or so. Every morning I wake up, get high within the first hour of the day, stay stoned the entire day, finally pass out while watching something at night. This is why you couldn't give 6 months to the GMAT. By the way, I am not trying to shame him by telling the story. I'm not trying to embarrass him, to belittle him by sharing with you the story. I realize that by no means is he the exception. In fact, he is the norm. This is what everyone is doing. Don't look down on him just because he's getting high. You sitting there wasting all of your time on social media is no better. I told you this story to help you relate with it. Be honest with yourself. Is there nothing that you would really like to have? Is there nothing that you want? Is there nothing that would make you feel great if you achieved it? Of course there is. Then why are you not giving your 100% to it? Why are you not giving it your absolutely everything to achieve that thing? Because you want to sit there and scroll through social media, because you need to spend some time on YouTube, on Instagram. You're no better than a drug addict. Ask yourself this. I've done this multiple times. Recently, I downloaded Instagram again after like months. Before I finally deleted it again, I had been wanting to delete it for like 3-4 days before that, but I just couldn't get myself to. Finally, I asked myself the question, is scrolling on Instagram for a few hours a day worth crushing my dreams for? Is it worth giving up on my dreams for? Ask yourself that question honestly and do what you will with the answer. I can't imagine a world where the men shy away from work. Imagine in the primal times a man saying, I don't want to go out and work. I'll just stay with the women here and help them gather and raise the children. You guys go and kill the wild boars and the mammoths. Imagine playing a video game where the character says, "Nah, man, just don't make me do work. Let me just sit on the couch and chill." Imagine watching a movie where all the main character does is sit and scroll through his phone. I say all of this knowing fully well that I lied at the very extremes of this. I was the guy who said, I cannot work. Not I don't like to work, I don't want to work. I cannot work. I will not work. Oh, how I wish I could meet him for just a second when he said this so that I could smack him right in the face. Dumb fuck, what will you do if you won't work, man? A man saying that he doesn't want to work is like a lion saying that he doesn't want to hunt. Accept this one idea. Internalize this one concept. The more you accept it to your core that this is a fact, the better off you will be. There is no alternative to hard work. I'll repeat that for you. There is no alternative to hard work. There is no hack, no trick, no way to get by without putting in the work. I wish there was. I wish there was so that I could tell it to you and make things easier for you, because life is fucking difficult with this mindset, dude. As long as you keep running away from work every step of the way, life is going to get unbearably difficult. If you go your entire life hiding away from work, you'll live a very sorry existence. You will never amount for anything more than a pathetic loser, a failure. In fact, I don't even believe that it's possible to go through one's entire life with this dumb perception. I think it's a very childish, a very immature belief, and that once you grow up, you have to say that, okay, work is what I do, work is what I've got to do, work is what defines me, work is what defines everything about me. I think this is what, more than anything, defines a boy's transition into becoming a man. The greatest thing you can do for yourself is to stop hating it. The greatest thing you can do for yourself is to start embracing hard work. Don't get me wrong, it is not going to be easy. It is going to be the most difficult thing you've ever done. In fact, in the history of mankind, it's never been more difficult for a man to start to love putting in the work. As an entire generation, we've grown up with phones and laptops in our hands, especially you younger ones. We've grown up with all of these distractions, the YouTubes, the Netflixes, the video games. We've grown up with the internet. The greatest, most irresistible distraction ever made. These games, these social medias, they are fundamentally designed to attract you, to get you hooked, to addict you. Up until very recently, the alternative to hard work was to just sit there and feel bored. Even then, making yourself put in the work was difficult. And now it's almost impossible, dude. Now the option is between doing something uncomfortable that will tire you out, that you don't want to do, versus lying on your bed and indulging in instant gratification, which will make you feel good, which will release dopamine within you. How do you ever start making this choice? I remember when I just started preparing for the GMAT, this was the first time in my life I was studying for anything. After an entire day of studying, I would sit there and say to myself that I absolutely hate this. My head is hurting so bad. I feel so uncomfortable. I feel so restless. I feel miserable, dude. I remember saying to myself that I had heard that when you're working towards things, when you're making progress towards your goals and ambitions, you're supposed to feel good, you're supposed to feel fulfilled and content, but I just outright feel miserable. It took me a long time to start feeling the opposite way. But luckily for you, you have me. Here's exactly how you shortcut that process. Firstly, understand that your body is your friend here. The human body is designed to reward you putting in the work. Every time you put in the work towards something, your body releases dopamine. That is why we have civilizations in the first place. That is why humans have made as much progress as they have. Think about it for yourself, dude. Think about it for a second. All through history, there have been multiple people who have achieved so goddamn much. Who've done so much with their lives. They have achieved unbelievable, spectacular feats of things in their lives. And look at yourself now for a second. If you're asked to do the dishes, that's an inconvenience for you, you feel bad. If you're asked to study for an hour, if you have to study for an hour, you feel uncomfortable, you feel bad, you feel miserable. So if putting in work really is that difficult, if it really is that much of an inconvenience, why are they putting themselves through so much discomfort, through so much trouble? Why are they doing this to themselves? The answer is dopamine. They're not doing this to themselves, they're doing it for themselves. They don't know what else to do anymore because they've started to crave that dopamine so much. It's become their drug. That is what we want to. And I feel so happy to tell you that to some extent, I have started to feel the same way. If on any day I don't make at least some progress towards my goals, if on any day I don't spend at least a couple of hours productively, that day goes by miserably for me. It doesn't matter what I did, where I went, how much fun I was supposed to be having. At the end of the day, I'm just sitting there thinking, what a waste of what could have been a beautiful day. Without external stimuli, the body is supposed to release the most amount of dopamine at two distinct times. One, when you're striving towards a goal, when you're taking action and making progress towards a goal, and two, when you achieve a goal. So your body is literally designed to push you to strive towards goals. But there's a problem here. You see, over the past few years, there's this thing that's come up called the internet, which has completely hijacked all of our dopaminergic systems. So while dopamine was designed to make us look outwards, to make us strive towards goals, to make us set overarching goals for ourselves and make progress towards them on a consistent basis, out of nowhere, this thing called social media came up and said, hey, that thing that you really want, that dopamine spike that you crave so much, that you put in so much work towards, that you set long-term goals for, and you work consistently towards them, I'll give it to you for free. Just keep lying on your bed and spend all of your time, spend multiple hours a day looking at me, and I'll keep giving you the dopamine. That is the worst thing about social media. That is why, at the risk of sounding repetitive, step number one, dopamine detox, or at least significantly reduce the amount of time you let yourself be consumed by these platforms. And finally, step number two, let me explain this to you in as short, in as simple words as I can. Your dopaminergic pathway, your dopaminergic system passes through the thinking part of your brain, which means that quite literally you release dopamine through your thinking. You can just be lying on your bed and thinking about achieving your goals and you'll release dopamine. So you can release dopamine by doing nothing. Conversely, even when you're doing something that should release dopamine in your system, because of your thinking not aligning, because of you not feeling positively about the activity that should release dopamine, your body will not release dopamine. So like I said before, the only answer, the only long-term solution is to actively stop yourself from thinking negatively about work. If you can, think positively about it. That will help even more. I understand, I realize how difficult it is. I realize that what I'm saying is easier said than done. I mean, something that you've hated all your life, something that you've run away from, something that you've hid from all of your life, how do you start embracing it? How do you start actually like genuinely liking it? How do you genuinely start loving doing it? It's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen overnight, but it is the only option. And let me just say that it will be much easier than you think. Because as you keep putting in the work, as you keep making progress towards your goals, your body will push you to start deriving satisfaction out of it, to start feeling happy. Your body will push you to stop feeling negatively about it. And once you do that, the dopamine opens up. There's no greater feeling than that. In conclusion, point number one, change your outlook towards work. Stop running away from work. Stop hiding from work, because what else are you going to do in life, man? Spending your entire day scrolling through social media, watching movies, playing video games, none of this is an option. And point number two, when you do put in the work, stop feeling bad about it. Don't let yourself feel negatively about putting in the work. Let your dopamine flow freely. The day you start enjoying putting in the work will be the first day of the rest of your life. You'll turn the entire rest of your life around in that one day. Let me end this with a beautiful quote I'd heard a while back. In all honesty, I tried finding it again, but I couldn't. So I'm not sure on the exact words. I'm not sure who it is by. We're just gonna have to roll with it, okay? Here goes. You'll never beat someone who's enjoying what he's doing. As always, I wish you guys all the best with everything, and I'll see you in the next one.